with R's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Team Associated B7, Bag 7. So let's get started. All right, so all the parts are out of the bags. We're going to be putting together the rear axle and hub assembly. So it's cool to see that they included two different rear hubs. There's a standard one, and then there's one for high roll center, I believe. So this is a standard one. There's no real markings on it. And then this is the high roll center one, which is HRC. So it says that the HRC allows for higher axle heights plus 2 positions. And in the kit setup, in the manual, it's showing to use the HRC rear hubs for the carpet setup. I have not looked at the dirt manual, but maybe the dirt manual uses the standard one. So let's get this off the parts tree. We're also going to take the plus 2 millimeter rear axle height insert. So that's going to be these two here. It says 2 up, 2 up. So we're going to take these off the parts tree as well as the rear hubs. All right, so on the rear hub inserts, there's a little bit of flashing on this edge right here and right here sometimes. So I'm gonna just make sure I clean it up. I'm not gonna take off too much material, but that'll help with the hub rotating freely. Okay, so that flashing, when it's in between the shims, might cause a little extra friction and may not rotate as freely as we'd like. So I always try to take a note of that and get rid of the flashing if I can. All right, so let's go ahead and install our rear hub inserts. Don't cut the tab off that's on these inserts. And we're gonna install it in the 2 up position. So that means the tab is gonna be facing down. So here we're gonna install it like so, with the tab facing down. We're gonna do that for both sides. Next, we can install the 2 M3x6 set screws. So those set screws install in these 2 holes, here and here. I'm not gonna install them all the way, because if you over tighten these right now, it won't let the hinge pin go in there. So I'm just gonna get these started, and then I'll tighten it up once the hinge pin is installed. So I got them about halfway installed. We'll install the rest later. So next we're gonna need one 6 millimeter ball stud, one 1 millimeter ball stud washer, and two 2 millimeter ball stud washers, plus the rear hub link mount. So we got two 2 millimeter washers, one 1 millimeter, our ball stud, and the rear hub link mount. So these hubs are very similar to the B6 series, but they are different. Same with the rear hub link mount. It is slightly different than the B74.2 and the B6 series. All right, so we're going to do this for both sides. We're gonna install the 1 millimeter ball stud washer onto the ball stud. We're going to apply a little bit of blue Loctite on this. And then we're going to install this into the rear hub link mount. And take a note of the shape of the rear hub link mount. We're going to install the ball stud from this side. Next, we're going to need 2 M3x12 button head cap screws, and we're going to install these from this side, the side where there's holes for the set screws. The M3x12 millimeter button head cap screws are going to install through there. We're then going to install the 2mm ball stud washers and then apply some blue Loctite to these screws. Next, we're going to install these screws into the rear hub link mount, and it's going to install from this direction here. So you can see that there's a bump on this side. We're going to install it on this flat side here. All right, there we go. Once you feel it snug up, it's pretty good. You don't want to compress too much on the plastic. So let me do the other one and we can continue. All right, so this is what it should look like at this stage now. Got the set screws halfway in. We got the insert installed. Our ball stud mount is on. Now we can get our axles ready to install, assembled and installed into the hubs. So we're going to need our black grease. So we're going to add some black grease to the CVA coupler. The CVA coupler has a hole in it. See if you can see it. There you go, there's a hole. We're gonna line up that hole with the slot that's in the CVA bone. So you can kind of see the hole right there. Next, we're gonna take our CVA axle, and there's holes in this as well. So you're gonna line up the hole there with the hole in the CVA coupler. And then you're going to install a CVA pin through them all. And that pin will lock these two together, just like so. And then we're going to install a 10x15x4 bearing in the big side of our rear hub, and then a 5x12x4 bearing on the smaller side of the hub. So now we can install our axle assembly, and it should sit nice and flush like so. And that pin is captured by that bearing, so it won't come out. So let's go ahead and do the other side. So now we can grab our clamping wheel hex, another CVA pin, and the 1.6x5mm socket head cap screw. So what we're going to do here is the CVA axle has a hole in it, and we're going to install that CVA pin in that hole. Next, we're going to take the wheel hex. We're going to line up that slot with the pin slide it on, and then we're going to install the 1.6 socketed cap screw in the wheel hex. And we don't want to over tighten this. And what I like to do here is actually pull the axle as far out as I can and push the wheel hex in as much as I can, and then tighten. And you don't need to tighten too much because you'll strip out the aluminum, but once you feel it kind of snug up, just a little bit tighter than that and it's good. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Everything moves nice and smooth, it's not binding up. So now we can install the rear hub assemblies onto the chassis. These are not directional. It doesn't say left or right on them, so you can put them on either side. We're going to need 4 of the rear hub spacers are on this parts tree that had the rear hub inserts. So we can get these off the parts tree and then we can put these on the chassis. Okay. So we have our chassis, and what we're going to do is we're going to install the rear hub hinge pin from the back of the chassis towards the front, and we're going to put 1 spacer behind and 1 spacer in front of the hub, and then we're going to install the M3 lock nut. And you don't want to over tighten this nut, it'll shoulder out, and then that's it. Since it's a lock nut, you don't need to worry about it backing out. So now is when I like to tighten the set screws that hold the rear hub insert in place. And it does say in the manual that the hub is going to be tight on the hinge pin, but it should rotate freely in the arms. Once you feel this shoulder up, it's good. It's going to just sit kind of flush with the face. So there we go. So that's it for bag 7. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.